Remember to like, share, and subscribe. The retirement guy is on a fixed income. All right, well, here we are about 30 hours later, and we're going to do a little ice check. So, I'm going to go down and grab the cooler, bring it in the other room. So, it's hard to see. You can tell it looks a little bit wavy and a little bit crystally down there. If I was to, pull on that a little bit, you can't quite see it yet. Oh, there you go. So that's about as far down as the ice goes, which is about 3/4 of the way down. So I've got to let it sit here for 4 or 5 minutes so the edges kind of just defrost a little bit so it slides out. I'll make sure to capture that for us and some ice cutting. Okay, bye. Well, all right, my good friends. This is just a little bit different view of the ice. You really can't tell anything in there, can you? It looks like a nice, big, frozen, solid something or other. I'm going to do a little camera repositioning and you'll be able to watch me open it up. Because then this is just, it's just so nice making a really good drink with clear ice. So you got to start with clear ice. Hang on. Okay, peeps, here we go. You can't see a whole lot in there, and certainly you don't want to see Scotty G right now, although roll tide roll. So now I've let this sit out for about 4 or 5 minutes. You can see a little bit of the water starting to roll out. Can you hear that? Of course, you always want to do this over a sink because it tends to make a big mess. So what I'm going to try to do here for you guys, tilt this down right over my little bar sink. Oh, look at that. I let it sit enough that it came out like a masterpiece. So, cooler's empty. Now what you'll notice about what seems to be about this batch, and maybe if I do it like that, you can tell this section here is all solid ice. And I kept it in there long enough just to see what would happen. There's a little bit of ice on the bottom in this air pocket. So the air pocket is what you really want, because if I can do this for you guys, it might be a little hard to see. But let's see what happens. Let's see. So that all looks pretty, see how clear this is all up on the top? Like you can see right through it, correct? And when I get right here to the line, you can start to see a few little streaks in there and a few bubbles. So what that tells me is, because I kept it a little bit longer and it's frozen all the way here down on the side, I started to lose a little bit of that directional solidification I talked about. Again, this is an air pocket. So if I just happen to take my knife down here, see how it opens up? This is science of drink making. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to drop that in like that for just a minute. Okay. I know this is a little bit awkward for y'all, but you could even see this crisscross pattern. This crisscross pattern. And that's just how the water was turning into ice. So here's where some is hollow. Didn't quite freeze yet. So I'm going to put my camera back up and you can watch me destroy the ice into nice cubes. Alright, here's where some of the fun part comes in. Sometimes it's easier to do this with a hammer. So I have a very special rubber mallet I purchased just for making ice. Now I've knocked most of that out. And see what I mean? It's just you can see right through it. Look at that. It's clear and I haven't even done anything to it yet. However, I let it go a little bit long, so you can see how there's just a little bit of ice along there. Not much, but we're going to knock that off because we really don't need it. It just winds up making a big mess. All right. This is all junk down here. I mean, it's not if you want ice, but it won't be this nice crystal clear stuff. Okay. The retirement guy gets his little ice cutting board. Moves a few things out of the way. So I'm just going to trim this off. It makes it a little bit easier to work with from the other side, if that's what you happen to do. I would say what's interesting, you never think about it too much, but a lot of times this ice almost starts to feel like glassy. So sometimes with these smaller pieces, I've actually had some gloves on. So now there's a couple of ways to do this on this side, and the best way to do this, honestly, is to just, so this is kind of thick. You can see here, that's how thick my ice is, about 2.5, 3 inches. So if I cut a thin slice this way, and you guys are thinking like, whoa, Scotty G, you aren't really going to cut that with that saw blade, are you? No, that just gets stuff started. Come along with the hammer. A couple of pieces chop off. Now if I turn it over on this side, I'll make my cut a little bit bigger. A little bit deeper. It's almost, it really is about the same as glass. You know, glass and tile, you make a little bit of a scratch cut and then you pound it at the end. So here, a big block. Now what I'm going to do for just a minute is, again, look at that. You can see right through it. So now I can make the cubes kind of any size, anything I want to. So for you folks, I'm going to make them about that big. And look at that. There you have it. Look at how you can just see like a magnifying glass. So I'll tell you, later this evening, I'm going to make a couple of nice drinks, and I'm going to use this ice, and you'll see how such a great idea is. Here's drinking at ya. Alright folks, if you remember, I was talking about making clear ice. So I've got a nice small glass here, got a little G on it in case we decide to really see how well the crystal clearness of this clear ice happens to be. So there's the glass. Now you can see that ice right now, right? And you're like, Scotty G, what are you talking about? Clear ice. So watch what happens. Now mind you, this would normally be liquor. Oops, I have to edit that out. And now tell me, look at how sweet that is. You can hardly even tell there's ice in there. So it just makes the drink look so wonderful. As I spin that around, you really can't see anything. Just a nice added touch to when you're making a beverage for some friends or want to impress somebody. So just put it in your repertoire. See ya.